I'm Autumn Grace Page, and I'm doing my tipcast on Gerald Manley Hopkins' spring poem. So the title might be about the arrival of spring and just the anticipated wait for warmth, or about the revival of life after winter, and how winter's stay has just been too long and overdone, and spring still hasn't come, and that winter is just getting to be unbearable in general, and that spring can bring new things that are exciting and spontaneous, just new life. So the first stanza says that nothing is so beautiful as spring, when weeds and wheels shoot long and lovely and lush. Thrush's eggs look little low heavens and thrush, through the echoing timber does so rinse and ring. And my paraphrase of that is that spring's beauty is not comparable to anything else. Even the weeds that are overtaking the air are beautiful, and the eggs of songbirds are divine and sing as the trees sprout all around. The second stanza says that the ear it strikes like lightnings to hear him sing. The glassy pear tree leaves and blooms they brush, the descending blue, that blue is all in a rush. With richness the racing lambs too half bear their fling. And my paraphrase is that the bird's song satisfies all who have the pleasure to hear it. The pear tree flourishes and its leaves flit up to the sky, and the sky hurries, while the racing lambs also sprout their buds. The third stanza says, what is all this juice and all this joy? A strain of the earth's sweet being in the beginning, an Eden garden, have get before it cloy. And my paraphrase is that, what is all this wonderment and elation? It is a reminder of earth's pleasant start in the Garden of Eden. Enjoy this time before it's spoiled. And the final stanza is, before it cloud Christ, Lord, and sorrow of sinning, innocent mind and May Day and girl and boy, most O maid's child, thy choice and Maria the winning. And my paraphrase of that is that save and get those from their sin, O God, and have a fill of spring before it's gone. The connotation throughout this poem can be seen in Little Low Heaven, which is basically just saying that spring is heavenly and spring is like close to heaven. And the ear it strikes like lightning is a metaphor showing that the ear is just entranced by the songbird, and the spring is just felt so much so by everyone that it's just like lightning, so well heard. And echoing timber is just describing the trees that are echoing the melody of the songbirds. And the descending blue is discussing the blue of the sky as it seems to come closer to earth during spring. And then weeds and wheels and long and lovely and lush are alliteration with just the W's and L's. And juice is just showing that there's just an overflowing of pleasure and bliss in spring. It's just something you can almost taste in your mouth, just appealing to your senses. And before it cloud and sorrow sinning is showing that spring is like the earth before sin came in and destroyed all of its loveliness. And then lamb is just an allusion to Christ, as Christ is often alluded to as being just the Lamb of God and just being a lamb and being that sacrifice. And rinse and ring are just, both terms are just showing that spring really revives and rejuvenates those who hear it. It's just a refreshing kind of sound. And cloy is just showing that spring is a fruit that's overripe. And then the attitude of the poem that is showing that in the first stanza, nothing is so beautiful as spring, which basically is showing that the attitude is just being exhilarated at spring's beauty. And then the second stanza says, the ear it strikes like lightning, hear him sing, which is basically the person is really sensitive to the sounds of spring all around. And then the third stanza is, what is all this juice and all this joy? Shows apprehensive in partaking in the excitement of spring, and just spring's relation in general to earth's sinless beginning. And the fourth stanza, before it cloud Christ, Lord, and sorrow of sinning, has an attitude of being really insistent about enjoying springtime before it's sort of the ruin of the world, just really taking in all that spring really is and enjoying it while it lasts. And then shifts, so in the first stanza to before and after the dash, so it says that nothing is so beautiful as spring, which is just a simple statement describing the beauty, which shifts to thrush's eggs look little low heavens, and thrush, which is just a description of the beauty, so further elaborating that simple statement. And then in the middle of the second stanza, speaking of the third stanza, there's another shift with the glassy pear tree leaves and blooms, which is showing that spring is vibrant, and then shifting to what is all this juice and all this joy, and it's just wondering about the fuss of all the beauty as it won't last. And the third stanza after the dash to the end of the fourth stanza has a final shift which is have, get before it cloy, which is just an urge to experience spring's beauty before it's over and just take all of it in, which then shifts to most O mage child, thy choice and we're the winning, which is just saying that we should know what happens is deserved and can really only be prevented by God alone. And in revisiting the title, the title highlights that beauty isn't long-lasting and is really comparable to Earth in a perfect state before sin came in and destroyed the beauty and purity in humans. And theme is just that beauty is not forever and eventually fades, so it's not long-lasting and will always just go away. And then beauty must be recognized in order to visualize a revival of life that will dim, which is seen in spring. So that's my tipcast on the spring poem by Hopkins.